Okay, David, before we even start, last night, what time did you actually fall asleep?
Sarah, don't do this to me. Don't start the episode by exposing me.
I'm just asking.
Fine, around 2:40 in the morning. And the annoying part is, my body was exhausted, like dead tired. But my brain decided it was the perfect time to replay a text message I sent 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
3 years ago, Sarah, I suddenly remembered a message I sent to an old coworker, and I lay there thinking, did that sound rude? Did he think I was being cold? A message from 3 years ago that he probably forgot about the second he read it.
Okay, first of all, he does not remember that message.
I know that. My brain does not know that.
Right, that's exactly the thing though, because I do the same thing, just a different flavor. Mine is more like I'll have a totally normal conversation with someone during the day, and then at night my brain pulls it back up like it's evidence in a trial.
Exhibit A, the way you paused before answering. The defendant clearly hesitated.
Exactly. And I'm lying there building an entire case against myself for something nobody else even noticed.
Okay, so today's episode already found itself, basically.
It kind of did, yeah, because I think almost everyone listening right now has had that exact moment. That thing where your body is completely drained, but your mind is sprinting like it just had 6 cups of coffee.
The classic 2 a.m. brain marathon.
And people love to give the same advice, right? Just stop thinking about it. Just relax.
Which, by the way, is the least helpful sentence a human being can say to another human being.
It's up there with just calm down.
Right. Works every time. Never once has anyone calmed down because someone told them to calm down.
So today, we're actually going to dig into this. What's really happening in an overthinking brain, why it feels so impossible to switch off, and this is the part I actually find kind of moving, where this habit even comes from in the first place.
Because I don't think most people realize this pattern usually isn't random. There's a story behind it.
There is, and we'll get there. But let's start with the label itself, because I think a lot of people don't even know there's an actual clinical name for this.
Oh, I didn't know that either until I looked into it.
Yeah, in psychology, it's not just called overthinking. The proper term is rumination, specifically maladaptive rumination.
Rumination? Okay, wait. Isn't that a word for cows? Like when a cow chews the same food over and over?
You're not wrong. That's actually where it comes from. Cows chew, swallow, bring the food back up, and chew it again. Rumination in psychology means the same idea, just with thoughts instead of grass. Your mind keeps pulling the same thought back up and chewing on it again and again.
Okay, that visual is going to stay with me forever now. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But here's the thing people get wrong. They hear you overthink, and they assume it means you're too sensitive or you're weak. And research from places like Yale and the University of Michigan has basically said the opposite is true.
Wait, the opposite?
The opposite. People who ruminate tend to have unusually strong pattern recognition skills. Their brain is like, imagine a radar system that's constantly scanning the room, constantly picking up small signals other people miss.
Huh. Okay, that actually makes a weird kind of sense to me, because the people I know who overthink the most are also the ones who notice everything.
Exactly that. The issue was never a lack of intelligence. The issue is the radar never gets the all-clear signal. It never powers down.
So it's not that the brain is broken, it's that it forgot how to turn itself off.
Right. And there's a neuroscience piece to this that I think explains why it feels so out of your control. There's a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. Think of it like the CEO of your brain. It handles planning, logic, decision-making.
The responsible adult in the room.
Exactly, the responsible adult. And normally, this CEO calms down the panic signals coming from another part called the amygdala, which is your brain's alarm system.
So the CEO tells the alarm system, relax, it's fine, false alarm.
Right, but when you're stuck overthinking, the CEO gets overwhelmed and basically loses the meeting room to a background system called the default mode network.
Okay, wait, before you go further, can I be honest? I need a real-life way to picture this, because default mode network sounds like something from a spaceship control panel.
Ha, fair. Okay, picture your brain like a car, a really nice one, like a sports car with a huge engine.
I like where this is going already.
Now imagine the engine is roaring, revving, full power, but the car is in neutral. The wheels are spinning, it's burning fuel like crazy, making all this noise, but the car isn't moving forward an inch.
Oh, that's brutal. That's exactly what it feels like. All that energy, and you end up in the exact same spot.
That's the exhaustion people describe. It's not the thinking itself that drains you. It's the engine constantly revving with nowhere to go.
Man, okay, that hit different.
So now here's the question that I actually find kind of touching. Why would a smart brain do this to itself on purpose? Why build this loop at all?
Right, because it sounds like a design flaw.
It's not, though. For a huge number of people who overthink, this pattern didn't just show up randomly in adulthood. It usually goes back to childhood.
Wait, really? Now hold on. Before we go there, actually, this reminds me, I want to jump in for a second because I think some of our newer listeners might not know exactly what we're doing here on this show.
Oh, good call, yeah.
So for anyone who just found us, welcome. This is EnglishFB. We're not a traditional English class where somebody stands at a whiteboard and drills grammar rules into you. We just talk, like this, exactly like this, about real topics, psychology, life, random stuff that happens to us. And the goal is that your ear and your brain pick up natural English the same way a kid picks up their first language, just by hearing it used in real conversation, over and over in context.
Which honestly is why we love this topic today, because the whole point of this channel is training your brain to absorb language naturally instead of forcing it. And today's episode is literally about a brain that can't stop working. So it's a little bit meta.
It really is. Okay, so childhood, go on.
Right. So think about a kid growing up in a home where things feel unpredictable, where a parent's mood could shift without warning, or where even a small mistake led to a big reaction.
Like walking on eggshells.
That's the phrase exactly. Yeah, walking on eggshells, meaning you're being extremely careful with every step because you're afraid something might blow up. And a kid in that kind of home learns a strategy that actually makes total sense for survival. Anticipate everything.
Predict the danger before it happens.
Right. If you could guess your parents' mood just from the sound of their footsteps coming down the hallway or catch every mistake in your homework before anyone else could point it out, you felt like you had some control, like you could protect yourself.
Okay, that's actually kind of heavy, but it makes so much sense. So the overthinking as an adult, it's not some random flaw that appeared out of nowhere.
It's leftover software. It's a habit the nervous system built years ago to keep you safe, and it just never got the memo that it can retire now.
Your brain doesn't hate you, it's just still in the night shift from 10 years ago.
That's a great way to put it, honestly.
Okay, now here's something I want to ask because I think this matters a lot. Is all overthinking the same? Because sometimes when I sit and think about something, it actually helps me, and other times it just wrecks me for hours.
No, and this is actually one of the most useful things I learned researching this. Psychologists split it into two very different types.
Okay, tell me.
The first is called reflective rumination. This is when you turn inward, but you're actually trying to understand something. Like, say you had an argument with your partner, and afterward you sit with it and ask yourself, why did that comment hit me so hard? What old feeling did it touch? How can I explain myself better next time?
So that's productive. That's moving somewhere.
Exactly. When it's balanced, reflective rumination is basically a superpower. It's where self-awareness comes from, emotional intelligence, empathy. It helps you grow.
Okay, and the second type?
The second one is brooding rumination, and this is the one that quietly wrecks people. Unlike reflective thinking, which is moving toward an answer, brooding is completely stuck. You replay the same argument 200 times, not to learn anything, just to relive the frustration or to torture yourself for not having a better comeback.
Oh, I know that one intimately. That's my 2 a.m. special.
Ah, right. And this is where the bill actually comes due. It costs you your sleep. It causes something called analysis paralysis. You're at a decision point. You're weighing every possible risk so hard that you just freeze and can't choose anything at all.
I have literally stood in front of a menu for 10 minutes doing this.
Everyone has. And it also feeds social anxiety because you become terrified of saying the wrong thing, terrified of being judged.
Okay, but here's the sneaky part, and I actually want to underline this. You don't stay in one lane, right? Like, I'll start reflecting on something totally calmly, and somehow 20 minutes later, I'm spiraling.
Yes, that word, spiraling, is perfect, by the way, because that's genuinely the best way to describe it. It means slipping downward in a circle, getting worse and worse without really noticing the drop. And that's exactly what happens. A completely normal moment of reflection quietly slides into brooding, and it's so smooth you don't even feel yourself cross the line.
Why, though? Why is it so hard to notice?
Because thinking feels productive. Your brain is working, neurons are firing, it feels like effort. Psychologists call this the illusion of mental progress. Your mind convinces you it's solving something hard, when really it's just running on a treadmill, working up a sweat, burning energy, but going absolutely nowhere.
Okay, so here's a question that's been bugging me this whole time. Why can't I just force myself to stop? Like, why does willpower not work here?
This is honestly my favorite part, because the answer kind of gave me chills the first time I read it. It's dopamine.
Wait, dopamine? Isn't that the feel-good chemical, like from eating chocolate or winning something?
Right, that's usually how people describe it. But here's the twist nobody tells you. Your brain also releases small hits of dopamine during problem solving, even when the problem is completely imaginary.
Even imaginary problems?
Even imaginary. So every time you replay a scenario in your head, every time you build the perfect comeback for an argument that already happened, every time you rehearse what you're going to say to your boss tomorrow, your brain rewards itself a tiny bit. It doesn't care whether that thinking ever leads to a real result.
So basically, my brain is getting paid to overthink?
Basically, yes. And that turns it into a loop that's honestly not that different from scrolling your phone late at night. The more you think, the more small rewards you get, and the more your brain wants to keep going to chase that same feeling.
Okay, so this explains so much, because it's exactly why just stop thinking about it doesn't work. You're not fighting laziness, you're fighting a whole chemical system that's actively rewarding the behavior.
Exactly. It's like telling someone with motion sickness to just stop feeling sick. It's not that simple.
Okay, so if willpower doesn't work, what actually does? Please tell me there's a way out of this, because I would like to sleep before 2 a.m. someday.
There is, and this is where it gets genuinely useful. Therapists who work with people on chronic overthinking don't try to shut the thoughts down completely. Instead, the goal is to change your relationship with the thoughts.
Okay, I like that framing already.
So there are 2 techniques I want to walk through, and they come from a couple of approaches: acceptance and commitment therapy, and something called somatic experiencing, which basically just means using the body to calm the mind instead of trying to argue with it logically.
All right, technique 1.
Technique 1 is called cognitive diffusion, and here's the picture I want you to hold on to. Imagine your anxious thoughts are like a pair of VR goggles strapped tightly to your face. While you're wearing them, whatever disaster movie is playing feels completely real. You're fused to it.
Because you can't see anything else.
Right. Diffusion means taking the goggles off and holding them out in front of you and going, oh, this is just a video playing. This isn't actually my life right now.
So how do you actually do that in practice?
It's small, but it works. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, which fuses you completely to that idea, you say, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure.
Huh. Okay, say that again, because I want to actually notice the difference.
I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. You see it? You've created a little bit of space between you and the thought. You're no longer drowning in the current. You've stepped onto the riverbank, and you're just watching the water go by.
That's such a good image. Okay, wait, that phrase, stepped onto the riverbank, I actually really love that because it kind of connects to something my grandmother used to say. There's an old saying, don't cross the bridge until you come to it.
Oh, I love that one.
It basically means don't worry about a problem before it's actually in front of you. Deal with it when it arrives, not 50 imaginary versions of it in advance. And I remember years ago, I had this huge job interview coming up. And for like a week straight, I kept rehearsing every possible terrible question they might ask me. I built entire arguments in my head for things that never even came up.
Oh, no.
And then the actual interview was like 15 minutes, super chill, totally different questions than anything I imagined. I basically wrote an entire tragic play in my head that never got performed.
Don't cross the bridge until you come to it. And David built an entire highway system for a bridge that didn't exist.
Exactly. I engineered a whole bridge for nothing.
That's such a perfect example, though, because it shows exactly what we were talking about. All that mental energy, and the car never actually moved.
Right. Revving in neutral the whole week.
Okay, so that's technique 1, cognitive diffusion, creating distance from the thought. Technique 2 is about the body, not the mind.
Okay, go on.
So here's the deeper issue.
Overthinking often happens because your nervous system is still running old survival software, like we talked about earlier, and it's constantly assuming the world is dangerous. And here's the key thing. You cannot logically argue your way out of that. You can't convince your nervous system with words.
Because it's not a logic problem, it's a body problem.
Exactly. So you have to speak its language, which is sensation. When your mind starts racing, when your heart's pounding, and you feel yourself getting pulled into the loop, you interrupt it with something real, something happening right now in your body.
Like what, specifically?
The most well-known one is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. You find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, like the texture of your sleeve or the surface of the table, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
Okay, and this one is a bit more dramatic, but splash your face with cold water.
Yes, or lift something heavy at the gym. Anything that forces your body to register something real and physical.
Why does that actually work, though? Like, why does cold water do anything?
Because your default mode network, that background system that keeps replaying imaginary conversations, literally cannot do 2 things at once. When you force your brain to focus on a strong, real sensation, it has to pause whatever imaginary scene it was running.
So you're basically yanking your brain out of the movie theater.
And back into the sunlight. Yeah, you're sending your body a very clear message. The environment right now is different. There's no danger chasing you. You're allowed to rest.
Okay, I want to jump back for a second because I want to make sure we actually explain one of the words we've been throwing around this whole episode because I don't think we ever slowed down on it. Spiraling. We used it earlier. Can we actually sit with that one for a second?
Oh yeah, good catch. So to spiral, think of water going down a drain. It circles around and around, getting lower each time. When we say someone is spiraling, we mean their thoughts or emotions are getting worse and worse in that same circling pattern, usually pretty fast, and usually will cook them fully realizing how far down they've gone until they're already there.
Right, and you can use it in totally everyday situations too, not just about deep psychology stuff. Like, I was fine, and then one bad comment on my project and I completely spiraled for the rest of the day.
Exactly. Super common, super natural phrase. You'll hear it a lot.
Okay, good. I'm glad we paused there. What else vocabulary-wise should we make sure people walk away with today?
Okay, let's do a quick round. We already touched ruminate, which means to think about something over and over, like a cow chewing its food again.
Never forgetting that image, by the way.
Aha, good. Next one. Overwhelmed. We used this earlier when I said the prefrontal cortex gets overwhelmed. It basically means you have more than you can handle at once. Whether that's tasks, emotions, information, it just piles up past your capacity.
Right, like after the move and the new job in the same week, I was completely overwhelmed.
Perfect example. Okay, another one, and this is a good one, to freeze up. We used it with analysis paralysis, remember? Standing at a decision and just freezing.
Oh yeah, to freeze up means you become unable to act or speak, usually because of stress or fear or too many options. Like he totally froze up during the presentation and forgot what he wanted to say.
Exactly. And one more, to retrain, which we used near the end about retraining the nervous system. It just means teaching something a new pattern to replace an old one, whether that's a muscle, a habit, or in this case, your body's stress response.
I had to retrain myself to stop checking my phone the second I woke up.
Great example. Okay, and last one for today. I really like this one. To unwind. Not the physical meaning of unrolling something, but the everyday meaning of relaxing after being tense or busy.
After that stressful week, I just wanted to go home and unwind.
Exactly. And that word connects perfectly to everything we've been talking about, honestly, because that's the whole goal here, helping that revving engine actually unwind instead of just sitting in neutral forever.
Okay, and before we wrap the vocab section, you promised me earlier we'd get a phrase in too, not just single words.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. 2 phrases for today. We already got walking on eggshells earlier, which, quick reminder, means being extremely careful around someone or something because you're afraid of a bad reaction.
Right, like ever since the argument, I've been walking on eggshells around him.
Exactly. And the second phrase, let's do to take a step back. We didn't use the exact words, but it's basically what cognitive diffusion is describing. Pausing, getting some distance from a situation instead of reacting immediately.
I was about to send an angry email, but I took a step back and reread it the next morning instead.
And it was probably a much better email.
It was so much better, yeah. Okay, I feel like we've covered a lot today. Where do you land on all this, honestly, like personally?
Honestly, I think I live somewhere in the middle. Some days I catch myself doing the reflective kind, actually learning something from replaying a conversation. And other days, not gonna lie, I'm fully in the spiral, brooding over something that doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, same. I think most people are exactly there, bouncing between the two without even noticing the switch.
And I think that's actually the most comforting part of everything we talked about today. This isn't a personality flaw. It's not proof that you're broken or too sensitive or too much. It's evidence of a brain that learned at some point that staying alert kept it safe. And that brain just hasn't gotten the message yet that it's allowed to rest.
It's not your master anymore once you can actually name what it's doing.
Exactly. That's really the whole point. You don't need to shut your mind off completely or somehow become a different, less sensitive person. You just need to learn how to be a patient guide for your own brain instead of getting dragged around by it.
Okay, I love that as a place to land today. So, quick question for anyone listening. Do you find yourself more in that reflective zone, actually growing from your thoughts, or do you notice yourself sliding into the brooding spiral more often?
Yeah, we genuinely love to hear which one you relate to more. And if you're going to try that little trick, I'm having the thought that next time your brain starts running that highway system for a bridge that isn't even there yet.
Don't cross the bridge until you come to it, folks.
There it is. All right, that's it for today's episode.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you in the next one.